I am well. I am well. I am well. I am well. I am well.
Okay.
Thank you. How are you guys?
I'm good. I'm good. My apologies for the late start. We had some technical difficulties here. With
Okay.
getting out the link and everything. So I was just trying to send you an email, but then I saw the link came across.
Okay.
Okay, so good. So we're having a good day or good week.
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, so we all got a review sheet. We made it. We're almost to the end of the road. Do we have our review sheets? I see Alex Dia saying trying to connect. You want me to give you a few minutes, Alex Dia?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you need a few
Okay.
minutes?
No, I'm good now. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, so pull out your review sheets. Give me a few minutes, 1 minute. Okay, thank you for your patience. Okay, so everything seems to be sorted out now. So we all got a review sheet last week, and everybody was assigned questions. Did we have any difficulties getting the answers to the questions?
Yes, I did. I have
Bernice, you did not. You emailed me all week, and you still had problems.
now the thing is I was questioning myself actually. Because I know this each question is like 3 paragraphs. The information I gathered for fines for tipping off and failing to disclose was about 1 paragraph. And
But I explained that those were the multiple choice questions. So you didn't even need information for an answer.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But I emailed that to you, and you could have listened to the recording and,
Oh,
and heard that 3 or 4 times. So you overthinking.
I think I am.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're a very smart lady. Yes. And you can do this. This is definitely achievable. For
Okay.
somebody who has not worked in the industry, you've done very well so far.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, so please, but you overthinking, you need a little bit more confidence, because all of that will cause you to, add a lot of stuff that won't give you any points. So just take
dear.
time. You can do this.
Okay.
Okay, you can do this. Okay, great.
My next point though of anxiety, if I can use
Yes.
that word, was question 4 when I was trying to determine the IMF disaster relief fund for the Bahamas. I can tell you that the information I got, you would call a lot of fluff because it doesn't address the question disaster relief fund. So I did some more digging. Everything I came up with basically the same information, but the information I was able to gather today, it speaks to the process of why the IMF actually have an emergency relief fund.
Okay.
And it spoke to natural disasters. It spoke to the need. Okay, let me see if I could read this. In a crisis, countries need help quickly. The IMF provides emergency assistance to help countries with urgent balance of payments, financing needs in the wake of natural disasters or armed conflicts. And this was an article that actually explains that it doesn't speak directly to the Bahamas Disaster Relief Fund, but it speaks to the fact, the reason why they have one. And I wanted to know if that approach was acceptable.
No, it's not.
Okay.
And if you listen to the recording of that class, I would have
Uh-huh.
given you all answers.
Oh my, okay. I guess I have to go back into the library.
Yes.
How do I
Yes.
go back into the library to find
Okay.
out?
Miguel, you can contact him and he will send you all the recordings or lead you to how to access the recording.
Okay.
And I normally give you the majority of what you need, and then you only have to do minimal research.
Okay.
Okay, so don't go too far right or south, just then you won't get any points.
Oh, yes. Okay. All
Okay?
right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Very good. Let me try and share the screen. Anybody else having difficulties or? No? Okay.
Hi, Miss Paulette.
Hi.
Oh, you can go ahead, Sharon. Sharon, you
Oh,
were talking
sorry.
as well? You can go
I
ahead.
think
I'll wait
we
you finish.
have to like to share some of the information we have got for those topics.
Sorry?
I am in the understanding that we will share the information we found for those topics.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the whole purpose of this class is that you would bring out your review sheet and write the 10 points that the person shares under each. So at the end of the class, you will have a full review sheet with the majority of the answers.
Okay.
So you will have to do minimal research. And then if you go too south, I can pull you back in and say, no points for that. This is how you know? So we want to share.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, great. So anybody else wants to, I think it's just Sharon. Sharon, are you getting your 5% today or no?
Oh yes, I attended Toastmaster on Tuesday.
Okay, so what was the word for the day at Toastmasters?
Oh, it was something related to books. I forgot a bibliographical. It was
Yeah, a bibliophobia.
a bibliophobia. Yes, that for example, when you're scared about running out of good books to read, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry, what is the definition?
A bibliophobia is when you have fear of running out of books to read.
Oh, okay. My daughter perhaps has that. So she loves books. Okay, so that I'll use that word on her. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
and so
also did some
what else did
questions.
what was the topic?
Well, they asked me which was a good skill for communication, and I responded that being a good listener was a good skill because you cannot just reply anything if you don't know how to listen the other person. And there were some, three people that were giving like different speeches. One was for the voting rights of women, and another one was a girl that was sharing her experience about incorporating physical activities to her daily routine. And there was another one, but I cannot remember.
I must say that I was impressed with Sharon's input because that very clause she mentioned, that to be the most effective speaker, or you must actually be the best listener.
Yeah, that is an excellent response.
Yes, and so that response itself floored me because, and she was making note that she don't think she was very good, but she impressed those who listened to her, and they encouraged her to attend again to become a member, and
Okay.
I was truly impressed.
Okay, excellent.
Thanks, Bernice.
Excellent. Thank you for inviting. I imagine you sent the invite to her. So thank you, Bernice, for that. But Sharon, did you find it beneficial?
Yes, of course. I mean, I realized I was very nervous. I mean, I'm in my computer, but I was nervous and I think I didn't experience that before. Like, well, yes, at the very beginning of when I was like a student, I remember that, for example, for some expositions and all that, on some classes where you have to go in front of the class, I was nervous, but that actually like went away for a little bit of time because now I was in the screen and I was very nervous and my English was like so bad and I didn't know how that happened. I am not sure if it's this thing that I have been, at home for so long.
Yeah,
But
you have to
well,
practice or you
yes,
lose it.
and also, well, it can help me to improve my English skills because at time I was saying that sometimes I just get stuck with some emails and the language tends to be quite repetitive. So that will actually help to improve, this speaking while I say a speech or I give some information, etc. But thanks a
So,
lot for well, giving me an invitation to join.
okay, you're welcome. And thank you for going. And I am very happy that each of you found it beneficial and you do plan to attend again and again. All these things are just to make us better, to help us get up the corporate ladder. Okay, because we are the future leaders, and so we need to network with the movers and shakers and make
Mhm.
our network as strong as Bin Laden's. Correct? And that's the only thing we want to do with Bin Laden. Nothing else except the network.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good, 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 good stuff. Okay, so Bernice, we'll start with you so you could get over the anxiety right away. So you got questions 1, 6, and 2.
Yeah.
Miss
Okay.
Fuller.
Let me. Okay. First of
Excuse me
all.
1 second, Miss Fuller.
Go
Hello.
ahead.
Hi. I think there may have been some confusion because Bernice, you did question 4.
I did 1, 2, and 4. Yeah.
No,
Right.
you were
So
supposed to be
I
1,
had
2,
4
and
written
6.
down for me.
I did 6 too. No problem.
Okay, okay. So do 1, 2,
Okay.
and 6 for us.
Okay.
Okay. So Miss
Okay. I need to exit full screen because I have everything in a Word document.
Okay.
Okay. No. Okay. So I did 1.
So let me stop sharing then. You're going to put it on the screen or no?
Um. Sure. Why not? Why
Yeah,
not?
okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Share screen. Is this it? Okay. Here we go. All right. So this is my question 1. I did it in table form. I took everything from the text from the manual. And the paragraph, the opening paragraph, I was just simply going to say that when it comes to money laundering and terrorist financing, there are 5 components of comparison, namely motivation, intention, source of funding, methods, and life cycle. And then, of course, the text provides the information. As opposed to a motivation, be that for money laundering, it is profit seeking, as opposed to terrorist financing, which is ideological. Intention, of course, is stated there. Um, I guess that I would say that is to clean ill-gotten gains or dirty money, so that appears to be proceeds from legal activities. Is the money laundering, as opposed to terrorist financing. It's to intimidate a population or to compel a government or an international organization to do or abstain from doing any specific act through the threat of violence. Source of funding, I guess there is similarities there, but the difference deals with terrorist financing, and that the source of funding can also be legitimate and that funds can come through charitable donations, foreign government sponsors, business owners, and personal employment. The methods are similar through the process of placement, layering, and integration. And for the life cycle, the difference there is that funding can be as a circular, it's more circular in that placement, layering, and integration can actually be cyclical in that it can continue in that life cycle span, as opposed to terrorist funding being linear, with the end result being that to finance terrorist activities.
Okay. Yes, and definitely excellent. This is the answer to the question. And like you said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories, but let's put a twist on it.
Mhm.
The question could say compare and contrast. Remember, sometimes I said that the questions have 3 parts. So compare and
Okay.
contrast, you don't need to write out the 5 methods. You perhaps
Okay.
can write out 3. And remember, examples, real life examples always prove that you understand. So if you open and you could say the 3 stages of money laundering, placement, integration and layering, and that's it. And then you go on to the 5 categories. So, and 3 are, you will explain in detail. So if you say motivation is different, money laundering is for profit seeking, terrorist financing is ideological. Give me an example of it being ideological.
I guess with terrorist financing, I read something about racism, and then the very fact that they want to do ethnic cleansing, and then there's religious practices whereby they believe that Christians are more or less. This is what I'm thinking at the top of my head. They despise Christians, so I guess when it comes to the ideological, it has to do with I guess ideas or concepts that they believe is correct, and it's different from any, and it's not in support of the general populace.
Okay, correct. Okay, so don't forget your examples. So if you talk about intention, give us an example of intention. If you talk about source of funding, give us an example of how they smuggled, what fraud did they usually use, a case where they kidnapped.
Oh,
you see? Yeah.
Okay.
Or the easiest one is a charity. There are many examples at the back of the book where they use the charity.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Okay, good. Very good. So everybody clear on how to answer? If it says compare or contrast, what are the similarities? What are the differences? We know what that question is asking and we know how to answer. Alexia and Sharon?
Yeah.
Be clear?
Yes, I'm clear on it.
Okay. Okay, good. Very good. Okay. On to question 2, Sharon. Justify. Please make sure you have the correct answer. Please know that the answer is the same for all. Please get both right on the exam. You'll be the first class.
So you want me to
begging. Miss Bullet begging.
Okay, this was the answer I had for 2. Let me see if this is correct. I said according to section 30 of FTRA, tipping off offense occurs if a person suspects or knows of a disclosure pertaining to STR. This person then makes a disclosure pertaining to the STR that can prejudice subsequent investigations. Simply put, it's an offense to tip off a customer who is suspected of making an STP or provide information that can prejudice subsequent investigations. According to the Proceeds of Crime Act 2018, a person who fails to disclose or was found liable of tipping off is liable on summary conviction to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 12 years or to a fine not exceeding $500,000 or to both. On conviction of indictment, to imprisonment to a term not exceeding 20 years or to a fine or to both.
Okay, great. And like I said, I've seen those multiple choice questions almost on every exam because persons keep getting it wrong. Okay, so please,
Right.
please, it's easy to get confused. easy to get confused, easy to go and look at the 2000 version of the law, and easy to say it can't be the same one. So let me pick one, so I get one right, you know? I get both right. Okay, good, very good. Number 6?
Oh, number 6. Number 6 was the MLRO, I gather. Number 4, 5, 4, 6, senior management. Okay. I guess this was the role of senior management, the board, the MLRO roles and responsibilities and common issues. Okay. Role of the board of directors of senior management is their responsibility to deliver compliance. They should be provided with management information about AML compliance risk, which is a prerequisite of effective corporate governance and risk management. It is responsible for deciding whether the AML framework is adequate and that it provides a level of comfort required. It provides oversight. This is management now. It provides oversight and reassurance through an effective internal AML compliance and risk control framework. It expects AML compliance department to design, implement, and monitor the AML framework while relying on the business to operate in accordance with it. The role of the MLRO. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Pardon me. Hold a second. Please excuse me. Let me do that again. Here we go. Okay. The role of the MLRO. This is an approved position by the regulator, registered with the FIU. This is an indication of how crucial this role is to the regulatory bodies. It receives internal STRs. It evaluates them. It accesses the information from the internal sources and web bases to determine whether or not that STR has merit of whether to report it or not. It makes external reports to the FIU or law enforcement agencies. It files internal disclosures. It acts as a main point of contact for law enforcement. It acts without reference or influence from management. And according to the central bank, I added all kind of information there.
Yeah, but you already answered the question.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And I don't want you to add all the rest of that, but now I want you to answer the common issues part.
The common issues, I don't understand. What do you mean by that?
Look at question 6.
Oh, Christ. Let me see, what was it? Uncommon issues. Uncommon issues pertaining to what role is the question?
All of them. Anyone.
Oh, the common issues are the MLRO phases?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know if I answered that part.
Right. See, and that's how we get caught up with all the fluff.
Yes.
Like I said, so far you've answered the first and second part of the question. And you've answered that. So forget about the rest of that. Now it's what are the common issues?
Okay, let me go to the text right quick. Because I did not answer that part.
Right. And see, when you know you got turn this paper upside down. So make sure you read the question carefully, answer all parts. If you want to get full points.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. Hold on.
So right now you have 5 points.
And it's worth 10?
Yep.
Ouch. Oh, okay. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. And which chapter was this again? Let me see.
The last one, chapter 8.
Chapter.
But you mightn't find common issues in there. You know, we talked about the issues that the MLRO faced along the way, and I mentioned some in the last class.
Oh.
So the book may not necessarily help you with this one.
Oh, okay. The common issues of Emma. Well, I can remember you warned us with being a compliance officer in MLRO, the important. Well, you mentioned to us that we ought to be very cognizant of what we sign, common issues that an MLRO would face. Would that be, oh boy, that risk? What's my risk appetite? Would that be a part of this?
Yeah, so you have to ensure that the institution remains compliant and stays inside the appetite of the business. Because sometimes, like I said, in the offshore world, particularly, competition is very stiff. It's very hard to get, high network accounts, and so therefore, they become desperate sometimes. And the risk appetite may say we don't have an appetite for PEPs, but here it is a PEP account they want to open, or because this Perry Christie cousin, we should be able to open up this account because this Perry, but is he still not a PEP?
Okay.
Right, and then there's a lot of intimidation.
Intimidation coming from where?
The CEO, remember now, these sales targets are very high, and if they don't produce, they go home. Not only do they get let go, they sometimes only work on commission, and so they don't get paid if they don't open any accounts. In 2018, I think it was 2018, before the pandemic, before all of this happened, a bank let 131 sales per people go because they did not meet targets.
They did not meet
the target. So the bank tells you, you have to bring in $1 million worth of business for the year. And they did not bring in that $1 million, so they were sent home.
Oh my gosh.
So a lot of things has been happening with the salespeople. They were trying to defraud the system at a major bank. The person in Freeport won salesperson of the year. So if Bahamas can't meet the target, Freeport has been dead for years, meet the target. And so of course, when that person won, we started an investigation on them and found that they were doing some unscrupulous things to meet the target. So those relationship managers are under very a lot of pressure trying to bring in the business. And then there's so many laws, there's a risk appetite, there's hardly nobody in the Bahamas can qualify for a loan, and then the targets are so high. So there's a constant, I guess, combat between sales and compliance and senior management. How are we supposed to meet these targets if the law says this and we're restricted here and we're restricted there? Okay, so those salespeople are under a lot of pressure. So MLROs are intimidated, and that's why the MLRO is independent of the business, because when year end come in, even the CEO is get a little unscrupulous because he's thinking about Christmas bonus and the staff. If you don't give the staff Christmas bonus, it could be an uproar. So he trying to even, before the close off date, put in as much sales as possible so the staff can get bonus. So people have done some unscrupulous things, and try to intimidate the MLRO, and that's why the MLRO reports to the board rather than CEO, because in the past, when the MLRO years ago reported to the CEO when it was bonus time, he said, well, bonus because we couldn't open these accounts. And so, they were a bit victimized and everybody else got bonus except them. And there was always a conflict. And so they fixed all of that now so that there's no intimidation and no threat of job loss because you want to approve something outside of the appetite.
Let me ask you a question. You said the MLR report to the board and not the senior management.
Yeah, not the senior management.
Okay.
So the board of directors, even though senior management acts, like the board only comes in 4 times a year, right? And senior management, the board delegates its authority to senior management to run the day-to-day business.
Mm-hmm.
However, nobody in senior management has authority over the compliance officer or the MLRO. Now the senior person, so the junior people in compliance reports to the head of compliance, who is normally the MLRO. But nobody in the bank has jurisdiction over that person. Only when the board meets, that's when they ask, the MLRO gives a report, and then they ask questions. And if you wanted to reprimand, say the MLRO was coming in late every morning or something like that, doing gross negligence, the CEO has to write to the board and tell the board that this is the situation, and when they meet or they'll send a letter or they will speak to the MLRO, but the CEO has no jurisdiction over that person.
So if this is the case, how is it that the MLRO still feels threatened? I mean, because
Sorry, I didn't hear you. If
seeing that the CEO, senior management, does not have any jurisdiction of the MLRO, how is it that the MLROs can still feel threatened by the fact that their sales targets aren't being met?
sorry, Bernice, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, say it again, please.
Okay, my question is this. Seeing that senior management or CEO does not have any jurisdiction, I see you on mute, Ms. Bullard.
Yeah, because I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Seeing that the CEO or senior management does not have any jurisdiction over the MLRO, how is it that the MLRO then can feel intimidated or even threatened because sales targets aren't being met?
Because in order for accounts to be approved for opening, they are approved by compliance or a board that, a committee that compliance is the chair of. And so they come and they say, we'll never make no money. You will not, the bank is going to close down. You know, I've been intimidated
Oh.
many times. And then when they come, we have a 48-hour turnaround time. They stand over you. Because if they don't get the account open by a certain date for the ones who are on commission, they need to make sure that the account is open by a certain date so it could go into payroll so they could get paid. And again, like I said, this is in the offshore world, but I've seen it in the retail side as well. You know, they stand over you and they, every time you ask for another document or to say this isn't clear or you're rejecting, they report you. They, all sorts of stuff happen. Alex G, I don't know if you've experienced any of this.
Wow.
Yes, I have.
So explain, I don't know if I can explain to Bernice in another way. They don't care that you don't report to them. All they know is there's a CEO, everybody else in the bank reported them. And so they try and, you know, those people who are in the boss and they try and boss you anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, so you have to remain respectful. You have to listen to them and you will tell them no. And they will come back 10 times.
Oh. Well, is that acceptable behavior?
It ain't. But if, like I said, if, you know, if it gets out of hand, central bank does offer you an audience. You can call the regulator and report the person, or you could report the person to the board and hope that you know, they get a warning. But you know, in the everyday business, they try to say, well, you're not tough enough to handle it, or you know, this is a very high-end pressure job. Sorry, Sharon is typing. Let me see, just to confirm. Reports directly to the, yeah, so the MLRO reports to the directors, the most senior position in the compliance department. So there can be other compliance officers that will report to the head of compliance. But that head of compliance, the most senior position, and the MLRO reports to the board. And it's MLRO. Are you calling it anti-money laundering? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Does not report to senior management that they could also be involved. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Sharon. Yeah, Bernice, but like I said, you have to be tough. You got to be a little bit tough.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know how money is make people, so, you know.
So there's a difference between the money laundering reporting officer and the compliance officer. Are their roles similar or different, or are they considered the same person?
In most cases, it's the same person. It depends on the size of your bank. So if it's a big bank, they have a few compliance officers and then a head. But if it's a small bank, they have one person doing all of it. And that's another issue, wearing too many hats. When you work in these institutions, they don't want to pay Because remember, these departments don't make any money. The only thing they do is save you from getting fined. So they want you to be the compliance officer. They want you to do AML and compliance, and they want you to do risk, corporate governance sometimes. And if you have a law degree, they'll want you to be legal. So if you know, that's another common practice. That's another common issue. Wearing too many hats, being overwhelmed and not being able to, you know, function and make sure that everybody's compliant because you're overwhelmed.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so they could be just, you know, you follow the rules. For most part, people are compliant. It's just those salespeople. They just be under a lot of pressure.
And they pass the pressure on to you because
Yes.
you're giving them permission to open the accounts that they need to get their sales targets.
You're right.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I see. So at any point, was an MLRO or compliance officer found, I would say, guilty or because they subjected themselves to the pressures of the CEO and senior management?
Yes, many. In fact, it's so bad that central banks, the regulators, are now writing a list because they have to approve the MLRO. They call it a fit and proper person for the position. And so they are now putting a list, like a blacklist, to say if your application comes in, they will not approve you. Now you could work in any other, you could be the compliance officer, but you can't be the MLRO.
Oh, wow.
If you would have assisted or failed, you know, and like I said, from 2018 was the first time we saw anybody even being charged with money laundering. So, you know, they just getting that under wraps. But they do have a list of persons that were unscrupulous. They had CEOs removed already.
Oh, wow. So these things don't even make the news, huh?
They made the news. Some of them write in the newspaper where the CEOs and the compliance was removed. Like I say, in Brazil, you are guilty until proven innocent. So the president of Brazil has been impeached. The governor of the central bank of Brazil has gone to jail, and account officers and CEOs have gone to jail in Brazil until they could prove they're innocent. And the Bahamas is innocent until proven guilty,
Okay.
right? And so
Yes.
now they have a lot of cases and a lot of backlog in the FIU, and they're working now to bring these people before the courts. And that's why the CFATF was coming in May 2020 to help us bring those cases to light. However, you know, the pandemic happened and they weren't able to come.
Understood.
Yeah.
You made mention that the central bank has a blacklist that they set to approve persons. So that you could be a compliance officer, but not an MLRO if you did unscrupulous activity.
Correct. But more than likely, that institution is only hiring you because somebody else is unscrupulous there, and they you know, you normally need 2 signatures.
I see. So
Yeah.
you're in that particular scenario, then are we to say that the MLRO holds a higher office than the compliance officer?
Correct.
Oh,
And so if that's the case, and this person can't be approved, you should be saying this institution is outside of my appetite and I need to find another job. And this is why I think from the first class, I always encourage everybody. I say, you know, let's learn from the Chinese. They live on 20%, they save 80%. You know, we need 5 revenue streams so that when these jobs go south, we don't have to worry about how we can feed our children and how we can pay our mortgages. You know, we have 5 revenue streams, and so we can survive. We can survive off our rent. We can survive off of an investment we made, whether it's a car wash or a breakfast stand or we do hair or nails or something. There's something to keep us afloat. So we don't ever fall victim and say, oh, I have to feed my children. So I have to have this job. So we don't face that type of pressure.
Okay, so at what point was the MLRO discovered how are their unscrupulous activities uncovered?
Well, the incident that I know about, well, if the bank fails and the bank is shutting down because of deficiencies, that's how they were discovered. But in an incident that I'm aware of, the MLO reported the CEO. The CEO then was investigated and removed. And then a new buyer came in. And the new buyer said, this MLRO needed to be investigated. And so they investigated that MLRO, and then she was removed.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So apparently, so how is it that the CEO was removed on the word of the MLRO without further?
You report them to the central bank. The central bank sends in the FIU. The FIU lets the police investigate. You know, so again, what we learned, the production was set, and from what they received, they did the investigation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good to see the common issues.
I decided to include first the law which terrorism is taken into account. That is the International Convention for the Suppression of December 1999, which defines terrorism. And well, terrorism can be explained as to intimidate a population or to compel a government or an international organization to do or abstain. Events on the of the Capitol in the United States could be considered as domestic terrorism. And while terrorist financing are the steps by which terrorists fund their operations to discharge their terrorist acts. And well, the variety of reasons why groups look forward to do this, well, to finance themselves is for training, for weapons, or for travel. And one of the one, or let's say the most important motivation for terrorism, even when it's international or domestic, is completely ideological. It could be political, it could be religious, or as sorry.
Very good, Sharon. Definition. Again, they need financing, they need weapons, they need travel, and ideological. Again, and that's how you deal with. So I don't know if you want to
I think I remember you said one in the class, and correct me if I'm wrong, was for the insurance of some properties that people use that money in order to send it to, well, to finance terrorist activities.
in Western Union, you said?
It was like insurance proceed because of a natural disaster that happened in Bahamas, if I'm not wrong, and that some people use that money to finance terrorism.
No, we read at the back of the book where persons use their social security check, and then I just said, imagine you know, because we just suffered from Hurricane Dorian. So I was saying, imagine if the, you know, and social service was crowded. I was just saying, imagine if those persons had used their social security check or gone in a bank and got a loan and said, we just lost everything in Hurricane Dorian. And then they sent that money, you know, so those were examples at the back of the book. But the real life examples that have happened in the Bahamas was, we have a park that's, you know, called Fox Hill Park, and 8 persons were shot around Christmas time. Yeah, and they died. And then somebody was having a baby shower, and 13 persons were shot at a baby shower in another community called Montel Heights. And most recently this year, 6 guys were released from jail, and they were shot in broad daylight minutes after being released from jail.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are our examples. But you can use an example, because we're so close to America, you can use an example from America. You know, I said there's only 365 days in the year, and in 2019, there were 366 cases of domestic terrorism in America. In 2019. In 2019. Yeah. So that means 1 act of domestic terrorism was happening every day or more. You know?
So
Right.
you, excuse me, Ms. Bullitt, so you would want examples of domestic terrorism. You would want examples of how it can probably be financed. You want examples.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's how you get full points. And that's how it proves you understand.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Very, very good. Sharon. Number 9.
Okay, so number 9, it says customer due diligence.
Okay, we can't hear you. I can't hear you, Sharon.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. Well, number 9 is customer due diligence, and I first find due diligence as the process used by financial institutions to collect relevant information about customers or potential customers. I also mentioned that it has a risk-based approach. Well, I forgot to divide it, but it's on high, medium, and low risk. And well, there are different types of customer due diligence. That is the standard, the simplified, and the enhanced due diligence. The international standards or laws that establishes the implementation of the customer due diligence is the Basel Committee and the FATF recommendations.
Okay, Sharon, there are different types of CDD is very vague. Okay. You wouldn't get any points from that for that.
Can I mention them?
I would, easiest thing to do is I would go with the 5 statutory requirements. Do you have that somewhere else?
Oh yes, in the book I found some statutory steps, right?
Yeah, and I would talk about 3 of the statutory requirements, and then I would end that. So all the rest of that may be too vague for you to get any points. So 1, 2, and like I said, statutory requirements for 3. If you talk about identification, then you can put that under, but if you don't say identification first, then you won't get points for 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Okay, for example, I will have to mention that it is necessary to check
identify
through the verification of their complete name, their address.
You have to say identification. The first statutory requirement, you could say that there are 5. The first one is identification, and then you put 4, 5, 6, 7 in it.
Okay, so it will be the identification, the address.
No, yeah, let's put identification, and then you go then you go 5, 6, 7, and 8. When you go to question 9, you put record keeping.
Oh, okay. I think I somewhere here. Where's report? Yes. Is here.
Yeah, yeah. Say that failure to key. Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, 10. Yeah.
Well, but
Yeah. So from 10, then you say record keeping, and you can perhaps put the fine in for record keeping if you fail the record keep, and then you can talk about training or monitoring or the MLR or anyone else, and then you should get full points there.
okay. And well, then I believe it's number 10.
Yeah.
Due diligence and enhanced due diligence. I'm not sure if my pronunciation is all right.
Yeah, due diligence is the correct pronunciation.
Okay, and well, SED must be documented by a financial institution because, well, I read that whenever a company decides to make a simplified due diligence, it must be documented.
Okay, but the question will probably ask, compare and contrast the differences, the similarities, stuff like that. So that you won't get any points for that.
Okay. Well, first of all, it must be, well, one of the is that it depends on the risk. The closer that a customer is performs activities that are high risk of money laundering or
excellent.
terrorism.
You would get 2 points for that.
Particularly, the risks can be related to the customer. For example, when they are non-residents or unusual circumstances, or for example, in the cases of customers that are not establishing a non-face relationship.
Okay.
Where there are shell banks.
Okay.
Or entities with nominees or very shareholders.
Okay, and then you would say, so this is what the tasks that I would carry out. These are the controls I put in place for these types of customers.
Well, that you will have to well, enhance the customer due diligence by, for example, verifying the source of wealth. That would be additional.
What else?
You will have, in the case of natural persons, you will also have to check if that person is a politically exposed person.
Okay, correct. And if it is, then
itself, also their close members and or associates.
Okay, and if they are politically exposed, then what do you do?
Then you also ask for them to disclose their information, like their personal information, the position they hold, and I don't remember if also the source of funds. Sorry, the source of wealth.
So who would you let approve their account?
Senior, it's like senior management.
Yeah, so I would say if it's low or medium, I would let the compliance officer approve. If it's high, I let the committee approve. And if it's a PAP, I let approve. So there's normally like a high risk committee, AML committee. So low and medium, the compliance officer. High, the AML committee or whoever the committee, high risk committee. And if it's a PAP, I let the board approve. And so that will show the controls that you would put in place for a high risk client. Source of wealth, approval, label it as high, source, yeah, I said source of wealth already. Yeah. And probably Google searches.
Okay, or to the UN list.
Yeah, in accordance along with any other, yeah, correct. So you just want to show the extra steps that you will take in order to carry out enhanced due diligence.
Okay, or also, well, I forgot to mention the geographical risk. For example, the blacklisted countries.
You could, but the whole point is to prove that, or to show the controls that you will have in place to differentiate between a low and medium versus a high and a PAP. So you want to show them these are the differences, these are the things that the controls I will carry out because of the high risk or the PAP risk.
Okay. Thanks. I'm making some notes. And I believe
Okay.
that's all.
Okay, great, great. And any questions for Anissa or Alexia?
Yes, I am gonna have to reformat my exam answers, and can I pass it by you for checking?
Sure,
Okay, good.
sure.
No, no questions from me.
Okay, is this clear as mud?
Yeah, clear as mud.
Okay, good, good, good. Okay, so you will do 4, 5, and 7? Or am I doing 5? You doing 4, 7, and 8?
I'm doing 4. Yeah, 4, 7, and 8.
Okay, great. Okay, go ahead.
If you could see my screen, please.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I struggled with the IMF question, but this is bad for my response. I mentioned when the IMF team visited, which was January 2020, after Hurricane Dorian.
They came in before the hurricane. So I wouldn't put the date. They came in before and then they came in after.
So the objective of this question was to speak to any time that they would have come, or
No, to speak specifically to Hurricane Dorian, and the control would be put in place.
okay. But you said take out the date.
Yeah, take out the dates because they came in a few times.
Okay.
But
I could just leave it as
if the question asks you
came.
specifically about Hurricane Dorian, it would be, you can say that they came in before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I mentioned the initial assessment in that the Bahamian authorities are taking timely and targeted measures to boost housing and to mitigate the socioeconomic impact of the pandemic.
Okay, so this is all correct. I'm reading what you wrote. It's all correct. However,
Mhm.
the disaster relief was established for Hurricane Dorian. And so by the time the pandemic came, everything was already in place. You see? So it's establishing the disaster relief is more so where the question is going to be based.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember we talked about there was a 3-tier approach.
Right.
Yeah. So it just said we had back-to-back blows. So first we had Dorian, then we had the pandemic. But the question is going to be centered more around the establishment of the disaster relief. They came in December of 2018. Before, in their consultative report, they said that, you know, we had a tax problem, we had a disaster relief problem. They said before they leave, they would like us to satisfy them, but put some controls in place to establish our disaster relief. Now, successive governments did not want to pay the $900,000 for the insurance because we had Hurricane Joaquin, where they said it was in a category 5, and then we had Hurricane Matthew, where they said it was an excessive rain, so we were not paid. So when the government suggested that they pay this insurance, the opposition said, oh, no, it's a waste of money. However, the government paid the insurance $900,000. Then the dormant funds were 88 million. They allocated half of the dormant funds, and then they got I think it was a $1 million line of credit from the IDB. So this was the 3-tier approach that they put in place for Dorian.
Okay, wait. Let's go through the 3-tier approach again. So we had the insurance policy of 900K, the dormant fund of 88 million.
Yeah, but half of it, so with a 44 million dormant fund.
Okay, 44 million. and then the IDB of $1 million.
Yeah, a line of credit. Should
Line
a
of-
disaster happen, all the paperwork would already been done and put in place. So we just go there and say a disaster happened, we need $1 million.
Paperwork done, okay. So this was, now who allocated these funds to be considered a disaster relief fund?
The government
Okay,
and the IMF. Okay, so it's like they came in and they did an audit, right? And you know, before they leave,
Okay.
they I can satisfy some of these issues right away. So they actually an explanation, and you say, let me fix this right now. And so they fixed the disaster relief before they left, so they could leave. You know,
Who's the
sometimes
they?
when you fix things, the government.
oh, okay,
Yeah, so sometimes when you fix things, they normally give you a rating on your audit. So they say you are 1B, 1C, 1A, you know, and you want the least rating possible, because once you get this rating, then, you know, Moody and who's the people who the country rating. So government tried to fix much things before this was in their realm, their reach, before they left. And so they said, okay, we can put this and take this off as something, you know, is outstanding. They put this in place and they didn't listen to the opposition who said it's a waste of money. Right? So they paid the insurance, showed the receipt. And so this was taken off as if this was posed as, you know, not an outstanding issue. And then some 9 months later, we had Doria. And it wasn't as, I mean, it was ever. However, we had this in place.
and so by having this in place, how did that affect our credit rating?
It worsened.
Yeah,
We had junk status. We didn't have this in place. I don't know what is left after junk status. But there would have been more repercussions, because the IMF would have said, we brought this to their attention 9 months ago. They acted too slowly or they didn't act at all. Right?
So even though this was corrected, we're still at junk status?
Yeah, because of other issues considered.
Yeah.
Not only this, it would have been added to the list and it would have made it work
Okay,
if we didn't have this in place.
okay.
Okay?
Okay, thanks for that, Ms. Fuller.
Okay.
That cleared
You're
up a whole lot for me. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so let me
I'll
go
go
to
over
fish.
last week. Well,
Sorry?
I'll go over last week's class as well to fine tune the response to that question.
Okay. Okay, so number 5, the current events. So of course, we had the CFATF in here in 2018. There were 40 recommendations. We were deficient in 22.
Okay, come again.
Yeah.
49.
Yes. However, like I say, when we speak, we only speak of 40. We don't speak of 49. So there are 40 and 9 special ones.
Okay.
Okay. And so we were deficient in 22 of the 40.
Okay.
Okay. One was the risk assessments. So that has been updated. And I sent you all the CFATF mutual evaluation in the welcome. I know at a certain point I sent it to you all, so everybody should have a copy and you can read the findings, and it just tells you we were deficient in terrorism. We were deficient in ensuring that the real estate, the accountants and the lawyers had a MLRO in place, and they were regulated by the Compliance Commission. Okay, we were deficient in the beneficial owners registry. We were deficient in our NPOs. And so we see all of that being updated and persons being pushed, and we are registering all our NPOs. The beneficial owners registry is in the news every day. The banks send out ads in the papers and said, even though you're a non-profit, if you're not registered with the Registrar General, you cannot open an account, you cannot operate. And they put out fines in place, $10,000 a day. You know, they gave a certain time period, and after, if you didn't come in, you would be fined. The risk assessment in 2018, there was a AML risk assessment due on June 22nd. If you were licensed by the Securities Commission and you did not hand it in, you would charge $5,000 a day. In October of 2018, an enterprise-wide risk assessment was required. That means, what are the risks with finance? What are the risks with credit? What are the risks, you know, in HR? All of that had to be documented and sent in.
Okay,
Some
but-
persons did not send the first one in June because they didn't think we really had to do it. I know compliance officers that were let go from credit unions were recently regulated by the central bank. That was another requirement that just, I think, the credit unions had previously fell under NPOs. So now they are regulated by the central bank. You wanted to say something, Bernice?
I wanted to know where these these items that you're sharing, if it's listed in the CFATF that you sent us, or
So
this is something huh?
I'm 1 second. Let me share my screen 1 second.
Okay, okay.
CFATF. Okay. Mutual. I would have emailed this report to you.
Oh,
No.
I said I've seen that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what you do again? This is 157 pages. You go right to the executive summary. The executive summary gives you all the key findings, and it tells you exactly which ones were deficient, and that's how you know.
Okay.
Okay, and then I think I would have emailed an update to you, because the opposition said, you know, the government caused us to get blacklisted, and because they didn't request something, so immediately they sent out an update. Did I send you the update form that where they said, remember, I keep saying the risk rating for the country has not been updated. So that was one of the issues. And so I sent an update sheet as well to tell you where they say we fixed this, we fixed that, this is what we're doing, we're partially compliant here, we're partially compliant. You got the update?
I don't think so.
Okay,
No,
it's
I don't have it.
online.
I got it.
It's online. You can Google it. Update on mutual CFATF mutual evaluation of 270. And let me see. Let me see if I can find this quickly.
Asking that if it can be typed.
If what can be typed.
Let me- Okay.
Thanks, Bernice.
Okay.
Google.
Sorry, I didn't get you, Sharon. I didn't hear you.
Oh, the document where you can find the deficiencies from the for Bahamas.
You didn't get that? I sent that in an email. Check your
Okay,
emails. Yeah,
let me
check your
refresh.
emails. That's I would have emailed this to you. Okay, I'm still trying to find the update. The update.
received it on my email.
Sharon, if Bernice, you got it?
I think I saw that online. I did some research on it. It's online, Sharon. I can send you the link.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. Um, that's the link. And-
Okay, I'm looking to my email for the update. I know. Go. This is online as well. But if so, they sent this out on September 24th, and they said this is what we have done in terms of the 40 recommendation, in terms of the issues of the country, and this is how we are satisfying everything that they noted in the mutual evaluation. So if you go to intermediate, we cover all of this in depth in intermediate. Okay, but if you want these, I can send these to you. But this is online as well, Sharon and Bernice.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, great.
And so it's just 10 points from this article.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's easy to with that. So try and if you talk about terrorism, speak to terrorism and what they did. If you speak about the risk assessment and the risk assessment of the country, you know, you only need to pick 3 other recommendations where they were deficient and speak on them, and you should get full points.
Okay. Let me see. Oh yeah, I see it. September 24th, 2020.
Yes.
Okay, I'll copy that link too and send it to the class.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Number 7 and number 8, Alex Steele.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Number 7 was money laundering crimes in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Money laundering crimes and gave a brief definition
Okay.
of each.
Okay.
Would that be sufficient, or
If
is
you want
more
about 6
information
or 7
required?
points, what do you need to get the very good?
Okay.
And there are millions of cases out right now, right? We know fraud,
Yes.
drug trafficking for years. We recently had a human trafficking one by an employee of Commonwealth Bank. I was surprised. Then our good philanthropists have a human trafficking case.
So where do we find these examples? Online?
Online.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so good. We get the idea
So
for number
add
7.
examples. Okay. And for number 8, I listed the court orders and again gave somewhat definitions or explanations as to what they are. But and I know to get more points we would need examples, but how would we give examples in this instance?
Okay, so online, like I said, it's difficult to, if you probably go into a US case, you'll probably see that they say we put a freezing order or what have you,
Mhm.
because the media does not give the name of the order. The only one you'll be able to
Right.
find online is the unexplained wealth.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you see persons charged with money laundering and they have millions of dollars in their account, or somebody recently bought a BMW and they can't provide how they got the funds to buy that, and they asking for the BMW back,
Mhm.
unexplained wealth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let me just make a note.
And where would they make this request of asking back for the BMW?
It's in the news, read the newspaper. If you know the name and the case, then you can pull it up and everything is right there.
Okay, okay, all right.
Tribune242.com.
Okay, so you're saying that for examples of these court orders, it's okay for us to do research online to get examples of for them?
Yeah, you don't have to use Bahamian examples.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying. And if you go like Google the UK news or American news, they may say we sent a production order. They may say we sent a monitoring order, but our news, they don't say that. You might hear them say a restraint order or a freezing order, but it isn't very common. The one that's most common that I've seen was unexplained wealth.
okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, so excellent, ladies. We've done it.
Yes,
We've
we
done
have.
it. So
Yes.
have you all reached out? I know the numbers are pretty high now. Have you reached out to Ms. Dean to confirm your exam time and date?
Oh, that's what we have to do? Okay.
I mean,
okay.
just because the corona numbers are high and you know every day there's a problem. So
Oh, no, I have not.
yeah, okay, so it's next week. You have time.
Okay. I'll do that first thing in the morning.
Yeah, just reach out to confirm that you know they're not closed because of COVID and this happens or that happens. So on the 26th between 6 and 9 p.m. she is expecting you, but just reach out to her just to confirm.
12. We're going at 12 p.m.
Sorry?
on the 26th at 12 p.m.
Yeah, okay, right, at 12, right, at 12.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry. And then Sharon, you spoke to her already?
Yes, I reached out to Leticia last week and she told me that my exam will be held on Zoom and that she will give me the details. I
Okay,
mean, probably anytime soon, but I think
okay,
if I don't receive an email, I will just, send one.
okay.
Like, it's gonna be online on the 26th of August.
Okay, and Sharon, please, like I told you, that's recorded through the UK and they are very stringent. So please make sure you have proper lighting. Nobody walks in the back of you. You know, you don't have to use the bathroom or whatever because they lock you out. Okay, so
Okay.
be very careful with make sure that your surroundings. Somebody had a TV on, they said their TV automatically pops on at 7, and so they got shut out for that. So be careful, just be careful.
No
Okay,
bathroom
okay.
break for a 3-hour exam?
Sorry?
No bathroom breaks for a 3-hour exam?
No, please use the bathroom before.
Even on site?
Even on site, yeah.
Whoa.
And on site, please only bring your mask and your car keys, no bags, no papers, no anything. Your pen and your mask and your car keys. Nothing else. Okay, and like I said, the key is to be organized. You should know which questions you're going in with. You should know your examples. You know, read the question though to ensure that you answer all parts of it. And double check it. Okay. Watch the time. So you schedule about 20 minutes for each question. When you see you're going over the 20 minutes, go to your next question. Answer all the questions that you are familiar. If you know money laundering up front, answer that one first. Even if the multiple choice, whichever is easiest for you, get it out the way. And then, just label the questions properly, that this is question 1. Don't waste time and write out the question again. That doesn't make any sense. This is question 1, then this is question 10, then this is multiple choice, then this is question 5. Once you label it properly, that's fine. If you run out of time, we can accept a list for the question 6 and 7. Don't do 8 questions, only 7 questions. The first 7 will be marked. Because people try and do 8 and say, well, I hope they give me the highest mark. No. Okay? I am not allowed to give out grades. You will receive your grades 2 weeks after you sit the exam. It has to be marked and it has to be cross-marked. Okay? So please print clearly. Sometimes I need an interpreter. And I try and figure out what people say, but the cross marker doesn't do that. So please print if you know you have that cursive writing or that extra special type of writing. Please print. And like I say, don't come rushing, be organized, and you should be okay. And this is definitely achievable. We have had persons who said, well, Ms. Bullet, I thought we could bring the review sheet to the exam.
Oh,
Okay. Sorry, Bernice, you said something?
no, I was laughing.
Oh, yeah. They said they thought they could bring the review sheet. They thought they could bring a book. They thought it was open book, all sorts of thoughts. Okay. Should you have any of those thoughts, you will be removed. You will, even in person, you're being recorded. You'll be removed from the class. If you want to attend any other class at the institute, you have to go to counseling. If your employer is paying, they will be aware. And it's $150 to resit the exam. Okay, but like I said, this is all very achievable. And I am quite confident that you ladies will do your best, and I'm proud of you already. Okay, and so I hope to see you all in intermediate, but if I don't, it's been a pleasure. I am adding all of you to my network. So when I see you around, I'd be like, hey, you all don't be like, Miss Bullet, we don't really know you. You all in my network. Okay, so you all network, and I need some future leaders, including you, Sharon. When I come to Panama, I want to speak to President Sharon or President Chavez. You already have the name.
Of
Right?
course, you're
Right.
welcome
So
to Panama or Mexico.
thank you. And we are the future leaders. So we are just educating. This is like the very first step to getting, or to going on our journey and to getting at the top and to taking our country back to where it should be and putting it on the map and with a good reputation. Okay, so all the best, and you'll have my email if you need any help. And like I said, I do hope to see you all in intermediate class.
Mhm.
Okay.
The intermediate class is also what, 3 weeks?
No, that's 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
Yeah, that's the second step, and then I hope to see you all in ICA.
Oh, that's the 3rd step.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a journey.
Yes,
I'll be
ma'am.
here the entire way through.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So
I
if
just have,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just have a last question regarding the question sheet that you share us. That's how the questions will be in the exam. Like these are examples of questions.
Yeah,
How
they came from past papers.
Okay.
Yeah. So your homework question, you already have 2 questions answered. So definitely you try and answer those questions that you did for homework. And then you pick 5 other ones. Because you would have already done the research, you already see your grade, and you should already know that you're on the right track. So I'll try to get those ones that did their homework this week. You should get it no later than Saturday or Sunday.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, any more questions?
No question. Thank you.
No.
You be hearing from me, Ms. Fuller.
Okay, great. So plan your celebrations for when you get this very good grade and relax and unwind and feel good first, and then get into studying, and then be ready to celebrate.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Okay,
Okay, excellent. So y'all have a good evening.
you too.
Thank you.
Okay,
Teacher.
take
Have a good
care.
one, ladies.
Okay,
You
good
too.
evening, everyone.
Good
Bye.
Good
evening.
evening.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.